Hey everybody, GC13 here. In the first season of Infinity Train, we were introduced to one of the show's many little mysteries. It happened in the Chrome car. Designed as one giant mirror, you were always right next to your reflection, and even required their help to exit. Both of you had to turn the handle on the exit door at the same time. Normally you wouldn't even notice the requirement. Your designated mirror person will always perfectly mirror your actions, so if you open the door, they do. But there was a special wrinkle in this car. To open the door, you and your mirror self had to switch places and open the door from the other's side. Even this would have gone smoothly so long as your mirror person did what they were supposed to do and switched back with you, but when Tulip's mirror decided to pursue her own freedom instead, we started to get our first looks at the mirror world as its own place, rather than as a reflection of our own. We saw that each of the mirror people had their own personality, totally unrelated to the prime they mirrored. Tulip's mirror was very clear about how she didn't just want to experience the physical world for the first time in her life, with new senses like touch and smell, but also about how she wanted to do just about anything but what Tulip did. Atticus's mirror was incredibly timid, especially when compared to the brave warrior king. We don't know what 1-1 was like back when he was just 1, but his mirror self certainly isn't anything like him now. So, if all of these mirrors are their own selves, with their own personalities and desires, what keeps them mirroring the existence of their counterparts in the prime world? Enter reflection enforcement, aka the Flex. While they were called to the scene because a reflection had escaped into the prime world, the more senior of the pair, Mace, makes it sound like the Flex have jurisdiction over even more minor cases of disobedience.
She exists to reflect your existence, and if she isn't serving that purpose, then we'll make sure she doesn't exist at all.
So, the mirror world probably isn't the kind of place you'd want to live. Your every action is dictated by someone else, and if you step out of line, they've got no compunctions against replacing you. How mysterious is it really, though?
Well, terribly mysterious.
You see, there's nothing arbitrary about the way the law works in the mirror world. There's one thing that reflection enforcement exists to serve, and they'll do anything to protect it.
We keep the barrier intact. You got that?
The barrier. Reflection enforcement runs the mirror world with an iron fist to protect it, but they never tell us what it is. You'd think that it would be self-evident. There seems to be a barrier between the mirror and prime worlds, and they don't like it when slivers cross it, so that must be what they're striving to keep intact. But there is one other mirror person we spend a lot of time around, and it sounds like the Flex spent a lot of time telling everyone in the mirror world about their mission, which they seem to phrase as being to
protect and enforce the barrier.
That's interesting. A barrier is a physical obstacle, while you only enforce rules. Come to think of it, MT had already crossed into the prime world when Mace was talking about keeping the barrier intact by him and Civ crossing over themselves to kill her. If there is a physical component to the barrier then, it must not be affected by mirror people crossing into the prime world, at least not quickly. MT crossing over into the prime world doesn't seem to have done any harm we're aware of, and we've lived in the same world for 2.5 seasons after she left. Not even the death of 2 reflection enforcement officers in the prime world seems to have exacerbated any damage to the point where we can notice. Thus far, the only consequence to MT's act of rebellion seems to be that Tulip doesn't have a reflection anymore. If it's hard to picture the barrier as physical, it does make a lot of sense as a social construct. When defending his choice to become a Fleck, Mace says that the mirror people provide some kind of balance. Whatever form that balance takes, it's all gone if mirror people realize they can live their own lives. Again, as far as reflection enforcement is concerned, mirror people exist to reflect their prime's existence. Any who step out of line, therefore, must be deemed a sliver and dealt with harshly. Otherwise, they'd have mass disobedience on their hands, and whatever purpose the mirror people served would be gone. So, while the Flex guard the barrier between the mirror and prime world, I think the barrier they protect is more abstract. The mystery is why they choose to enforce this barrier, despite the countless mirror lives that have to be spent mirroring someone else. Maybe we'll find out someday. Or maybe new seasons will focus on the train itself, one giant mystery in its own right. What purpose do you think the barrier serves? Do you think it even serves one at all? Let me know down in the comments below. Like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't, and make sure you subscribe to the channel for more cartoon videos.